All right, good morning, everyone. Go ahead and get started with Coach Traylor. JJ.
Jeff, just looking back at this last game against Southern Miss, what are some of the things that jumped out after watching the game on film?
Pretty much what I thought after the game. I thought Coach Hall did a great job coming out and putting Gore and single wing, snapping the ball on one. Were some of those penalties intentional? I don't know. They were getting 80 seconds off the clock. The killer was when they took 80 off of it, and 80, and then 80, and it's third and like 15, and we got a face mask penalty. And now they get to take 4 more minutes off the clock. So it was frustrating. We were frustrated we couldn't get, going offensively. If we could have got up by 2 scores, they couldn't do that anymore. But we just could never get ahead of them. I do think it will benefit us in the long run. We've been about a month, 5 weeks without having to make a real pressure call late in the game. And no matter what any of us want to say, we all had a little extra lump in our throat when it was tied up with 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter.
To face adversity, I mean, you guys were down and then tied the game. What does that say about your team to be able to face that adversity head on?
I was extremely proud of how we didn't flinch. No one started pointing fingers or blaming. And, I've seen a lot of teams when they get in those situations where you're supposed to blow out somebody per se, and then it's not going well. And people turn on each other. And we had none of that. It's our guys hung in there and battled. Our coordinators did a great job of staying calm. Our assistant coaches did a really good job of keeping our kids calm. And we just, trusted the process, just kept pound the fist, win the day, all the things we talk about all the time. Think about the very first culture pillar we have, integrity. I say it all the time. It's easy to be a man when it's cloudy and 72 outside and there's extra money in the savings account. All the kids are getting dressed on time for school and your wife's happy and life's easy. Where are you? Where are you when things go bad? And we were in one of those tough moments and our kids were in integrity and found a way out of it.
Greg.
Jeff, what were those things that kept the offense from rolling at a higher level sooner in the game? Anything that stood out when you look back at it?
In the first drive, we're going down the field and Frank got a little pressure and let the ball up a little bit. That turnover obviously didn't help. And we turned the ball over twice. Everybody wants to put that on the quarterback, but there's pressure in his face. Receiver routes weren't clean on a couple of those routes, and we dropped some balls. We just weren't very clean. We weren't very crisp. And it's why in order to be great and winning championships, it always starts with offense. I've coached long enough. We'll go 11-0 on air. Put the ball on the 5-yard line. We're going to run a play every 5 yards all the way down the field, right? So that should be, 20 plays, we score. And it's taken us 40 plays before sometimes to get down there and score on air because you still have to execute. Defense is where the championships are won. We've built that since we've been here. And our kids always play great defense, which always gives us a chance to win the game in the fourth quarter. It's team football. That it's not the triangle would not be a triangle if they weren't equal parts, right? It's team football.
Do you expect that some of those hiccups will have an impact on the offensive practice? I know you said there might have been some overconfidence last week and some things that seeped into that sense.
I would imagine our kids are smart enough to realize that we've got to be more buttoned up and cleaned up against a team like UAB. They're the champions, and they embarrassed us last year. It's one of the worst offensive performances we've had together other than FAU last year. And I would imagine we would respond correctly. Now, we are extremely beat up. How much we'll be able to practice those kids this week will be interesting to see. It always concerns you as a head coach, what's better to do? Play a kid that's healthy, that hadn't played very much, or play a veteran guy that might not be able to practice all week and show up play on Saturday. That's the tough call, and that's a decision we'll be making this week.
Yeah, along those lines, what happened with Mekhi Hart? What was the situation there in warmups?
I just had an injury to his lower body in pregame.
How does that look going forward? Do you have any read on whether he'd be available this week?
We hope so.
Hector.
Morning, Coach.
Good morning, Hector.
Is this kind of a great coaching situation to be in heading into UAB? You're coming off the win, and maybe you don't have to worry so much about warning against eating the cheese.
Yeah, I also think just, again, human nature. Y'all are great at reminding us of how bad we were Saturday. So that always helps, right? It really does. I'm not even, I know it sounds like I'm being sarcastic. I'm really not. I mean, because y'all got y'all's jobs to do, right? Y'all got to call it the way y'all saw it. We weren't very good Saturday. So the more our guys hear it, the more it's going to make them mad, the more it's going to make them focus, and the better they'll prepare. So I agree. What's crazy about all this is neither program has done one thing different. We both are in the exact same situation. It might look like we've done more. We've done nothing. Both teams enter the game with the exact same situation. If we win, we're in. And if they win, they're in. So that's kind of ironic that we've gone on this 10-game stretch and we've gained nothing over them. We're all the same. Winner takes all.
And then one more for me, Coach, it kind of a little bit unrelated. And it goes to the city and how, especially in the last couple of weeks, the energy and the enthusiasm has lifted. Have you heard the rap song, the BirdsUp Meep Meep rap song that's out now?
I haven't yet. But I look forward to that.
Yeah, there's a line in there about I think it's the birds and winds are inked up like Traylor or something like that. And you make an appearance in the song, not surprisingly.
Well, that's awful nice and flattering. But if we don't play better Saturday, they'll probably have another rap song about the trailer getting out of here. So I better make sure my kids play better Saturday.
Appreciate the time as always, Coach. Thank you.
Appreciate it, Hector.
JJ.
Jeff, I wanted to circle back to Frank Harris. What do you expect out of him? He's always kind of, hasn't he?
One more time, JJ, you kind of cut out. I know the question was about Frank Harris, but I couldn't hear the last part.
The facing adversity and bouncing back.
Well, I've told you all a million times, he's like a snake, right? Every time you try to kill him, you can't kill him. Kid's tough. He's tough. And he's a reflection of me. If he doesn't play well, I didn't coach well. And we've got to do a better job of making him feel comfortable. And we'll do that this week. We'll make sure and get him involved in the game planning and make sure he's comfortable and get that kid going. And Frank Harris will bounce back. I know him too well. He will bounce back.
After the game, you mentioned some pressure. You felt like it was on the team. Can you kind of expand on that a little bit more?
If it wasn't just the same, it'd be easy if it was just the same. It was just a little bit different. Sometimes he saw some ghosts, and sometimes there was some real things there. And, this was what I feel. And we've got to do a better job protecting him and making him feel comfortable so he doesn't see those ghosts.
Greg.
Jeff, your players on this UTSA roster have never beaten UAB. Does that dynamic matter, or what impact does that have as you guys prepare for this game?
Yeah, it matters because every time y'all remind them of that, our kids have a unique way of like doing what they're not supposed to do. And, but yes, it matters. But a lot of that, you got to give credit to Bill Clark and what he's established there at UAB. They're a top 25 statistical defense in every category. And that's been that way as long as Bill's been there. They recruit extremely big, physical, fast kids. They're heavy in the junior colleges. And those kids are freak athletes that know Bill's scheme very well. They run the ball very well. And then when you get up there too tight, they're going to play action pass and hit a tight end on some kind of wheel route or running back on a wheel route, or they're going to go double post or a cell cut on you. And they just do a really good job. They're well coached. And Bill's a high school guy. So I'm a huge fan of Bill's, and I root for him every week, except for this Saturday in the Alamo Dome.
Do you just use that history to kind of fire your guys up, or is there any part of having to inspire some confidence that you can beat that team in that uniform?
You don't have to do anything. It's a championship game. Our kids are very mature. They know what's at stake. You got to do things on the Southern Miss week. You don't have to do anything during the UAB week. It's going to take care of itself this week.
And you mentioned the championship dynamic. It was interesting to hear you say that the first one is the hardest one in that sense. Why is that, or why is experience so valuable in that kind of pursuit?
Well, success just breeds success, right? And the more you do something, the more you expect to do it, not hope to do it. I mean, you hope to hit your wedge, 105 yards over the water and land it on the green. You hope. Once you've done it a few times, you expect to hit your wedge 105 yards. I'm not there in my golf game. I'm still hoping to hit my wedge and not in the water. It's an analogy. I'm being a little silly, but it's still the same. Hoping and expecting are at different levels of confidence in your mind.
And what kind of impact do you want or need the Alamo Dome crowd to have in this game, a matchup of this caliber?
I've watched some of those, people just filming the crowd, and you can really tell it's not fake. Our crowd is into our team. It is a sincere love for those players. It was just amazing. They are so into our kids. And I was talking to Jordan this morning, who coaches for the Saints. And I said, Jordan, it was like coaching at the Superdome. It was that loud. And I know I always brag on our band and our student section, but for once I felt like the city of San Antonio matched our student section and matched Sosa. And that's going to be my triangle. I've been trying to think of a way we were going to get the Alamo Dome in the triangle. I've got it. It's Sosa, student section, and the city of San Antonio. That our triangle showed up last Saturday.
One of the other things you talked about after the game Saturday was kind of the pressure and feeling like the guys had some extra weight on their shoulders in this game. As you kind of got around the group yesterday, how do you feel about the pressure that they're facing this week, getting ready for a game of this magnitude?
It just reminds me of what I said in the very beginning with our kids when we brought these super seniors back. As the expectations rise, our culture has to match it. We've got to out-culture UAB Saturday. We have to. We have to be what our 5 pillars are. And it's going to literally be a pound the fist, trust the process, win the day kind of day. It's going to come down to the very, very end. And a champion has the ability to play one play long on his opponent. And I have a sneaking feeling this one might come down to the very last play.
What have you decided, if anything, about how to make sure along those lines that your guys can play free and not kind of have that burden that you saw a little bit this weekend?
Just that. You just can't get into all that other stuff. You gotta do what we do. Just give back to our culture and don't deviate from it. We just can't. I mean, do your job. Just do the ordinary, extraordinary. Let's have great pad levels. Let's protect the football. Let's block with our hands inside with a wide base. And I know it's very boring. Those are the things we did not do very well Saturday. Sometimes when you try to do more, you get outside of yourself and you end up hurting your team by trying to do too much. And we can't do that. We've got to trust the process, win the day.
Yeah, along those lines a little bit, what did you see from the blocking up front in this game, especially once Makai went out and you had to make a couple adjustments?
Yeah, whenever you lose your tackle in pregame, but Jalen Gallimore came in and played very well. He was one of our players of the game, actually. But we had some kids get injured, and we had some MAs up front, and it was just uncharacteristic of us. And I would say we were trying to do too much and not trusting the scheme.
What did it mean to you to see Leroy Watson get a chance to make that big receiving impact? I know you mentioned on the radio show that it would happen at some point. Is it meaningful to see it come through?
Yeah, I thought about that when I just said this thing probably come down to the last play of the game. I've been speaking things into existence so much lately. I need to hush. I need to say Roadrunners are going to win or something and speak that into existence. But yeah, it's just a gut feeling that I had. The kid practices too hard. He's too involved in our schemes, and the ball just hadn't found him really this year. And I knew when they went too deep and we had verticals called that he was going to be the guy. And I was really glad Frank dropped that dime. And Frank stayed in there on that one. He stayed in there with a great platform, good wide base, and really threw a heck of a ball in there. So I do think some of that gets lost Whenever a quarterback makes a couple of bad throws, we forget a lot of the good things Frank did in the game as well.
JJ.
Jeff, you mentioned the first championship is the hardest. How hard is it to win a championship?
Well, it's never been done in the history of our school. Now, I know it's only 11 years, but never is a long time. So it's just hard to win a game in college football, not to mention a championship. And so many things have to go right, JJ, from health to lucky bounces, all your kids passing their classes. I mean, there's just so many things that have to line up to get it done. And I have respect for guys that they do it, annually. Every year, they're the same. There's certain teams that just are always going to be in the hunt, which means they've got great presidents, great administration, great facilities, great fan base, boosters, money, uniforms. There's just so many things, academics, compliance, media. There's a lot of things that are had to fall in line to have a great program. And we don't want this to be something that we just happen to do occasionally. And it's 2 years in a row now. We've been in the hunt now, 2 years in a row. I mean, so the more you keep doing it, the more your fan base expects it, your media expects it, which means it gets down to the players, and it just becomes something we all expect to do. And someone's going to be the first one to win one, JJ. Someone is. Why not us?
Back to you, Greg.
Jeff, going back to Leroy, was it meaningful for him to be able to catch a touchdown pass? Is that something he cares about, or is he a guy who would just be happy to show up and block every week and call it a day?
I would like to say he's that, but all of us want a little love. As much as I even say I don't, we're humans, right? We all want to be appreciated. We all want to be thanked. And when you catch touchdowns, people notice you more. And I was thrilled for him, and I was crushed for Oscar, because I really wanted Oscar to have one. He's fixing to walk in as well. And our tight ends have been showing up more and more in the passing game the last couple of weeks.
It was really interesting to hear Leroy on the radio show say about how he got into football late because he was so interested in arts and music and things like that, because he seems to bring as much kind of passion and energy on the sideline as anybody. What is his kind of presence like day to day?
He's the leader of our offense. I mean, he really is. I mean, he is very vocal. Y'all can see by he's the star of the camera, right? Him and Miles, they've got something every week. And you can see why he was a ham on the stage. He's a ham with the piano. He's a ham when he sings. And he has a larger than life personality, which that would bother some people, but he's such a really, really good football player. And he does what he says he's going to do. And he does it all with the team in mind. It's not the attention for Leroy. He's just a natural ham with a big smile. He's smart. He's funny. And he's a really good player. So I was thrilled for him. And I've said this before, but when I was at Bryce's funeral, I was just shocked that big old man went up there and played that piano and sang like that. I had a tremendous respect for people. They're that talented in music. I've told y'all before, my mom and dad are both double music majors, and they tried to shove music down my throat, and I was just terrible at it. So I have a lot of respect for Leroy and his talent. He can cook too. He can act. He can sing. He can play the piano. He's a true Renaissance man.
Yeah. What other kind of opportunities have you had to see him put that stuff on display? Does he ever do it in front of the team or anything like that?
In our skits and stuff like that, he's always good at that kind of stuff. And he cooks for the kids quite a bit. He cooks for the whole team now. He cooks for all 115 of them.
Okay, anything else for Coach Traylor? All right. Thanks, everyone.
Remember it's senior day. Remember it's senior day Saturday too. 24 amazing seniors that have bought into this program that we need to give them a ton of love this week. I'll try not to have my handkerchief and cry too much, but it's going to be tough saying goodbye to my super seniors. Thank y'all. God bless. Birds up.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you, Coach.